folks, week 9 is in the books, and I'm D.C. Reeves, sports writer at the News Journal, here with Jason Blakeney. We're going to wrap it all up for you. We'll start at the top. Navarre, Pace, that was really the game, as we said in Friday's video, that really had the implications for both teams. And what a surprise by Navarre, a fantastic game. They turned the ball over 4 times, still beat Pace 31-21. It really wasn't that close. Navarre controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. They sacked Pace quarterback Devin Barney 5 times. They racked up about 280, 290 rushing yards, held Pace, who's a great running team all the time, every week, held them to 92 rushing yards. You don't see that happen very often. And really controlled it on both sides of the ball. And if it wasn't for 4 interceptions, this game might have gotten out of hand, which is crazy to think. I mean, who would have thought? We sat here and said Pace can't lose 2 district home games in a row, and Navarre looked like the better team all night.
Yeah, maybe the surprise here isn't so much that Navarre won the game, but that they didn't need their best game to win the game.
Right.
And you have to wonder how much emotion plays into this Navarre team this year. You have the Ian Lockwood situation. That seems to be a continuous thing tonight, wearing the Livestrong jerseys, surprising the team. It seems like every week Chad Lashley finds another way to get those emotions going before the game, and maybe that carries on to the field.
Yeah, they got the Livestrong jerseys. Dwayne Carter, the running back, who had a fantastic game, cut back lanes, reversing field. Just it seemed like wherever space was, he found it. 165 yards, 3 touchdowns. He told me, Lashley came in with these Livestrong jerseys, said Livestrong across the front, had their numbers on them. They knew about 30 minutes before the game, so they were in all yellow. They looked sort of like Milton out there. I had somebody say, is this Pace Milton? That's what it looked like. But obviously they worked for him. I think they'll probably wear them next week and maybe the week after that.
Right.
But yeah, impressive. This is really caps off for an impressive year. We talk about contenders, pretenders all the time. We talk about who's good, who's a surprise. Well, this late in the season, now we really, this Navarre team, 6-2, they're going to be heavily favored in their last 2 games against Tate and against Gulf Breeze. You're looking at a team that's going to be 8-2 with a playoff berth, and they're going to be a runner-up. They're going to have to go to the District 2 4A champ, which is either going to be Niceville or Crestview.
Right.
And they could beat either one of those teams without a doubt. Pace just beat Niceville by 2 touchdowns, and they came in to Pace's house and beat them. So.
Yeah, and they've already dismantled Crestview one time. So if they get to go to Crestview, man, what maybe a gift that is to them. And maybe you see Navarre Pine Forest rematch in the second round, which I don't know if Pine Forest wants to see that at this point. Navarre is probably the hottest team in the area. So, it would be interesting to see what happens going forward. It's weird to say, honestly. It's weird to say Navarre and playoff berth in the same sentence.
Yeah, absolutely. And, bottom line of it is nobody outside that locker room or that school or whatever would have ever believed that they would have come in here. You can say what you want. They're a fantastic team. But to go in and handle Pace the way they did, you couldn't have seen that coming. The most devout Navarre fan could not have seen them being up 31-13 on the road in the fourth quarter at Pace. So kudos to them. Kudos to Chad Lashley and the whole crew there. Fantastic job they've done so far this year. And, who's to say they might be meeting up with Pine Forest in the second round of the playoffs. So, big win. The reason they were able to clinch that spot was because of the Tate-Escambia game. Escambia, another surprise, knocks off Tate 21-10. That gets them, guarantees them a 500 season. They're now 5-3. Their last 2 games might be a little tough to get W's, but but you've got Pine Forest and you've got their last game is PHS in the rivalry game, so that might be a little difficult to find another win. But hey, they're 5-3. They knock off Tate. Now, if Tate would have won, they actually would have had an outside shot at a playoff berth. Navarre would have needed to beat Tate next week, but all that is gone for naught.
Doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't matter anymore. Escambia knocks them off. That moves Navarre into the playoff spot. And hey, after Escambia goes 4-0, then they lose 3 games in a row. 2 of them in very convincing fashion, and you start sort of leaving them for dead, and then here they are, win a district game against what seemed like an equal opponent.
Yeah, and it seems like maybe they're experimenting a little for next year. They've got sophomore quarterback in tonight who had a great game. And maybe they're looking forward a little bit, but at the same time, hey, if you're winning games with it, maybe you're not experimenting. Maybe you've just found what works.
Right. Ladarius Jones is the quarterback you're talking about, sophomore quarterback. Threw for about $140, ran for about 90, 2 touchdowns. That's all you can ask for. And hey, that talk about building towards next year. You got a sophomore that can do that in a district game against a
Right.
1-4A team.
Right.
That's got to be it looks like a kid that might have a bright future. So.
Right.
Anyway, so big win for Escambia. Does Navarre a little bit of a favor there, moves them into the playoffs. In the last game in 1-4A, we had Pine Forest at Milton. Surprise, surprise, no surprise in this
Right.
one. We had Pine Forest just rolling over Milton, dropping 56 on Milton in a 56-21 win.
Yeah, Lucas Purefoy, again, too much to handle. Best player in the area as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Two more passing touchdowns this week. 3 rushing touchdowns, one of them on the second play of the game for 25 yards. The guy is just kind of unstoppable, kind of turning into a one-man wrecking crew. The defense there is really coming to their own. They've really turned things on. And, they're looking like that team that, maybe is what we thought Pace might be, a team that if they can get through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, can really make a run at the state title game.
Yeah, and isn't it so funny how things change throughout a season? I mean, you look at if you go back to week 2 video or week 1 when we talked about Pine Forest losing to PHS, maybe this isn't the Pine Forest team we thought. They turn the ball over all the time. They do this, they do that. Then you look at Pace 2 or 3 weeks ago. They were playing their best ball of the season by far. I saw them crush Escambia. I saw them look unbeatable. Bill Valona, our other writer, covered them at Niceville, and when they had a running back run for 360 yards on a state-ranked team. So you're talking about them at that point and saying, wow, they are unbeatable. Right. Well, now it's Pine Forest. I mean, Pine Forest has cut the turnovers down. Purefoy is firmly into a groove. I mean, the way he's been playing the last 2 or 3 weeks. And if they can keep this peak going, they look, without a doubt, if the defense can hold up and they can keep the turnovers down, they're going to be a playoff team and that can make a run, without a doubt, to the state championship game.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago we had Pace in the state championship game, and now they're not even going to the playoffs. So you never know how things will turn. Another team going to the playoffs, though, Pensacola High, they go ahead and wrap up that district tonight.
Yep.
Big win against Gulf Breeze is kind of one that you expected, and they take it 49-17, but Gulf Breeze snaps that 14-point streak for them.
Yeah, that's right. I think it was up to 25 games entering tonight. PHS had not allowed more than 14 points to any team for 25 straight games, and sort of a crazy one to lose that on. You would like to see them lose that on a game that would have been more competitive, but 49-17 win for PHS, and again, we can't be surprised anymore by whatever final score comes in with them. They're rolling. The only potential issue I can see with PHS is maybe the 3rd round of the playoffs, 4th round of the playoffs, where they'll play teams like St. Augustine, like Tampa Jefferson, that are going to do one of 2 things: either have great defense like they do, or have a fantastic offense like Tampa Jefferson does, and can outscore and be able to put some points and put that PHS offense in a position where they're having to come from behind, which is, have they even had to do that all year? I mean, I don't think so. Yeah, I think they've been in the lead all year. So that's really the only, if you could even, that's splitting hairs too.
Right.
If you could even look for a weakness, that would be one.
Yeah, but if you want to go ahead and say, maybe a little bit of an advantage for PHS, they saw both those teams last year.
Right.
So, you kind of know what to expect out of them. They will have the confidence that they can beat them since they've already beaten them, and they may be a better team this year than they were last year. So, maybe there is no roadblock for PHS. I can get overconfident because I don't have to go out there and play the game. I think they're going to the state championship game.
Right, absolutely. Well, let's talk about your game. You were at Washington, West Florida. Washington gets another win on the board. That's win number 2 for them. I think it was 28-13 final there.
Right, and West Florida came out early, controlled the ball. I think Washington only had like 13 plays in the first half because they had 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles, and an interception. The interception was in the end zone. But they go. West Florida's winning 7-0 at halftime. Then Washington comes out in the 3rd quarter and just explodes, 21 points, wraps it up with 7 more. They got a big game out of Dejon Funderburk. You got another big game out of Gary Brooks. It seems like if they could get their athletes rolling, it's obviously too late in the year this year. If they had been able to get them rolling a little bit earlier in the year, win some of those close games, you may be talking about them maybe competing for that last playoff spot with Choctaw.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about Washington, when you look at them on paper, is that they've got good athletes. They've got a quarterback, and look, Dejon Funderburk, a sophomore, he's not going to complete 55-60% of his passes like some of the senior quarterbacks are. This is a young kid that hasn't played varsity, and so his percentage is down, but he's able to make plays with his feet. He's able to do some things. You look at them defensively; they got some solid players like Whitney Richardson. That they've had some games where they played very well defensively too.
Right.
And so you look at them on paper. A lot of times with 2-6 or these 2-7 teams, you can point at one thing and say, man, this defense is just not any good. This offense can't move the ball. this, that, or the other. That's what's funny about Washington. They've lost so many close games. They've got decent offensive players that got great athletes, and they've got a decent defense. I mean, so you look at all that and you say, man, you talk about just the pendulum, how it can swing, win or loss on a touchdown here or there,
Yeah, they're right there on that edge, so it's a tough year for them.
Yeah, so anyway, we'll wrap it up with Northview and Jay. Northview gets a 28-0 win, sets up that big game at home against Vernon. That's for a playoff spot. It's essentially a playoff game. Vernon will host, Northview will host Vernon. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff next Friday. And then we had Jay falling to, who'd they lose to? Panama City Bozeman on the road, 40-0. The struggles continue with them. Elijah Bell, as we reported earlier in the week, has stepped down effective at the end of the season. So he will not be the athletic director or football coach from there. So that's all our games, and be sure to check out our preview videos that we put out every Friday. We got a couple more for you. We'll have them in the playoffs. We might even ramp some stuff up, give away some clues. We might have some chats. We might do some crazy things in the playoffs.
We just might do lots of things. You never know. We might just do live streams from our houses.
Right. Well, we don't want to do that.
Maybe from your house.
All right. So well, make sure you check out all our videos Friday, and then every Saturday morning, like you're doing right now, check out our wrap-up videos. We'll also have our Check My Stats Players of the Week, as we always do. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm DC Reeves. This is Jason Blakeney, and we'll catch you next week.